It is Cinco de Mayo 2021. This is Atlanta United FC Weekly, a Home Before Dark podcast. Kevin, are you sipping a marg right now?
Yep.
In honor of... Ooh. Going the Dan route. Going tequila tonight in honor of Cinco de Mayo.
Crazy straw to boot.
Yeah.
Can someone silence their phones, please? We're recording. Well,
I am Tim Herb.
Do we have to have a notification before we start now?
I am Tim Herb, and as always, I'm joined by my lovely co-hosts, Mr. Kevin Bradley and Dan James to my right. Thank you guys for tuning in on this lovely Wednesday evening in Atlanta. The rain has stopped, the skies have parted, and we're getting ready for Saturday.
Atlanta's still winless.
Yeah, still winless.
No, we're not.
No,
since the last time we recorded, we are.
Correct. Oh, Bill Holcomb. Bill Holcomb in the trap for the first time in God knows how long. How are you, Bill? It's good to see you. Maybe we will have to start referring to it again as the Bill Holcomb icon, the Bell Holcomb icon on the page. But if you guys are watching us on YouTube, make sure that you guys subscribe. We're close to 500 subscribers. If you guys are listening to us on Apple Podcasts, on Stitcher, Google Podcasts, on Podbean, whatever you're listening to us on, we're on Audible.
Spotify. We ain't got that Joe Rogan money, but we on Spotify.
We're on Spotify. We're on Audible. So whenever you're in the middle of listening to your Kyle Tate narrated books, you could take a break, switch over to Home Before Dark, listen to us for a little palate cleanser. I guess Kyle would be the palate cleanser, or Ron Perlman, or whoever's
Ron
book
White.
You're listening to. Ron White, yeah. I would listen to Ron White narrate just about anything. Can you imagine Ready Player One as narrated by Ron White?
The old tater salad.
Old tater salad in the stacks. Just going into the oasis.
I love it.
That's an Alex Jones reading of Ready Player One.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, it's good to see you guys in the trap. Joe Johnstone's been in here since 7:39. We did a toot toot back and forth. Got Bill Holcomb, the aforementioned Bill Holcomb, Elliot Beaven, Bradley D, which is close to Kevin, right? Brittany S, Dirty Bird Person, and Michelle. Yeah.
That's it. Great.
Yeah, Joe Johnstone says, I'm going to need that resting Dan face from his photos. I've got you might have RBF, I have RDF. I got resting Dan face right now.
I think that's the just slightly annoyed look.
And you can hear Pirlo in the background. Just
mildly
screaming his head off. Yep. Well, how you guys doing tonight? Speaking of mildly disappointed.
Yeah, exactly. Whoever it was talking about Atlanta winning last night before the final whistle was blown, I hate you so much. So thank you for that. That said, I don't know. I don't think that the results of the past three matches are indicative of the state of this team entirely. And you have to take it in context with all of the events that transpired over those three games. And I don't know how you guys want to break this up. I don't think it's necessarily that we need to go match by match, but if we just kind of break out CCL with the two games against Philly and maybe talk about first and second leg, and then we can finish up with New England because then maybe that leads into MLS play this weekend. But so Philly, first leg, Atlanta comes out, ends up taking a really, really bad loss, worst loss at home in its history, right? Isn't that the worst
club history?
Loss?
Worst loss in club history. That is correct.
3-0 loss at home. Stats and the first half would not say that would have been the case. I think that we were all a little disappointed considering just how close Atlanta United got to scoring in that first half, but ultimately couldn't break through. I don't know, man. That first one was really, really tough. What were some of you guys' thoughts from the first leg of the two legs against Philly in CCL play?
I thought, the first half stats-wise and first half just the visual eye test, it was beautiful what we were seeing. I was
It
so
looked like the
encouraged.
best Atlanta United we had seen since maybe MLS Cup run, right? Like, I mean, they were just creating chances, shutting down. I mean, Philly had next to nothing in that first half against Atlanta that you would really of any concern, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think maybe we saw one, maybe two games under FDUB that were as exciting as that one. But this is, I mean, we haven't seen excitement like this since 2018. It was great. Everyone was just clicking. We thought, all right, here we go. And then the second half happens. We let that horrible goal in. And then it was just heads down. We totally lost our mentality. Philly played us. They played us. They played the ref. And they CONCACAF to the best of their ability. They played us like a fiddle. It was a real tough loss. I was pretty bummed out after that one. And then, of course...
Go ahead, Dan. Keep going.
Oh, I was just saying the commentators like to say, oh, it's the biggest home loss they've ever faced. And it's like, so it's only 3-0. It could be a lot worse.
Right. I feel like that says more about us than it does about Philly. The fact that in our fifth season, the worst loss that we've taken at home is 3-0. Great. We've taken some bad losses on the road. But that said, yeah, it's tough for me, Kevin, to be honest, because I don't know what part of the game to take, or what part of the two legs, to be honest, like what positives, what negatives to take away, and which ones count for more for me in terms of my perception of the way the season's going and the way I think it's going to go. I think there are a lot of really good positives that we could take away from the first game, especially the first half. Granted, obviously the scoreline's not one of them, but some of the play that we were seeing outside of, say, Alan Franco in the second half. I mean, the first half, it was just, we lit them up. We had interlinking play. We had lots of chance creation, and it seemed like we had a lot of possession with purpose. And it's like everything that we've been preaching, or that Heinze has seemed to be preaching, or that we've been seeing in our positive results so far this season, in the way that we're wanting to go, it was there. It just, sometimes the cards don't fall. And that's like that 3-0 loss that we had at home to Philly. I would take that kind of loss over like a loss where it sounds cliche. I'd rather lose 3-0 than lose 1-0. But to be honest, like we won a half, if not more, and we got lazy, not lazy, but you know what I mean? Like we took our eyes off the prize in the second half. It like took our foot off the gas, maybe involuntarily so, but we just kind of deflated, gave up some cheap goals. And, you know, you can't do that against Kasper Shabilko and crew. We saw it last night. You can't just let a guy like him get to get a shot off in the 18 or to get an opportunity as easily as we gave them in the first leg. It's just not gonna come with good results.
Well, I think the biggest thing that I took away from that first game was the first half. I feel like that's what everybody wants to see out of this Atlanta team and the way it's structured. And you finally see a run of form where there are consistent chances being created, and against maybe if it's not against goalkeeper of the year in Blake, that you slot a couple of those home. But the flip side of that, and this goes two ways, which is one, how susceptible a team is to burning themselves out playing like that for a full 90 minutes. And I think that also presented itself in the second leg, where Atlanta, I don't know that any team has not only the depth, but the stamina to play and press as much as Atlanta had been those first couple of games, and particularly that first game against Philly, where they were just nonstop chasing everything down. And by the end of it, they were all spent. And I think that's why those goals just piled on at the end, because what that led to was, in the second part of that, which is the other big takeaway for me, which was we we all recognized going into this season that this Atlanta defense was going to get exposed. It wasn't a matter of if, but when. And we all saw that in preseason run of form and in those first couple of matches. And we were all wondering just how many goals this defense was going to concede. And it had looked shaky time and time again with balls just rolling across the floor through the 18 and getting slotted home. But then secondly, the defense getting pulled out of position because they're pressing so high and they're being so aggressive. It was just going to take one team to capitalize on it. And that's exactly what Philly did in that second half. I mean, it was at least two opportunities, one of which led to a goal where the bad Martinez, Philly's Martinez, doesn't even pick his head up. He just has a ball coming into him. He knows Shabilko or somebody is running on, and he just plays the long ball through our defense, because at that point our defense is spent. They're not going to run on the ball, and all he's got to do is just play it past that high pressing back line, and it's a one-on-one with Guzan. And at that point, the other forward is already up there, and then it's a 2-on-1, and it's just a gimme goal in that situation. And two of their three goals were exactly like that, where Guzan is left on an island, has no support, and they just slot it away without any issues. So that right now is probably my biggest concern, is how sustainable the way this Atlanta team wants to play really is through 90 minutes week in and week out. And I don't think that they have an answer to that. And that kind of takes me into maybe the second match against Philly, unless you guys have any other standouts from the first leg.
I think the fitness is an issue. I mean, we played the first game against Heinze. After, 10, 15 minutes, we're playing with 10 men. And that was an onslaught. So we've had a lot of travel. It's still early season. Guys aren't in mid-season form. So I think the potential is there that, yes, we can get through this 90 minutes at that pace. But again, I think that's not going to come until potentially mid-season.
Well, and the problem is that you're already getting injuries as a result of that. Like, I mean, that's the challenge now that Atlanta's facing, is that you're not in a midseason run of form, and we're talking about how much Atlanta's depth is. Well, it's about to be challenged whenever you've got two of your major players having to sit right now with very early season injuries.
Yeah, but you can't help when injuries.
I know. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So, no, but I mean, if they're muscle injuries, wouldn't that tend to lean towards overexertion?
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Especially, I mean, and the thing that Atlanta doesn't want to have happen is it's arguably the best player in that lineup right now in Sosa getting one of those fatigue injuries, because he has played all 90 minutes of every game so far, and he has been the best player we have out there. And every time it's like you keep running him to death the way he's having to play, you're kind of risking those sorts of fatigue injuries. You know, as far as I can tell, I don't know all the specifics of Barco and Dam's injuries, but both of them seem to be cramp and fatigue type injuries. It wasn't like it was a ligament tear or something like that, you know?
Yeah. And to Bill Holcomb's point, he said, are we calling Jürgen Damm a major player? Has he started more than one game? It looked like he was starting to integrate himself more and endear himself more to Gabriel Heinze in the lineup. And as he was, as he was getting fit, it seemed like he was going to be a major cog or a bigger cog in the system. But I don't know. You know, the one thing I will say about, and this goes back to you guys fighting about this, I don't remember who took whose side or who is on the Alan Franco train versus not on the Alan Franco train. I think that was, not to play Monday morning quarterback, but to look at that game and think about the partnership that Miles Robinson and Anton Walkes had forged in the first 4 competitive games before that match, and to take Anton Walkes out of the lineup, who arguably has been as solid, if not more solid in certain situations than Miles Robinson at points this season, to take him out and to put Alan Franco in such an important game. And it's not like playing. I don't know. Maybe I don't get it. Like I was going to say, I get the fact that he's a DP and you have to put him in at some point, but wouldn't you think putting him in on the road against Inter Miami, or putting him in on the road up in New England as his first true integration into the starting lineup, wouldn't that have been a better way to get him started in this, as opposed to putting him in against the reigning Supporters Shield champions in the first leg of a 2-leg knockout round and whatever. We end up getting almost the same exact result we've gotten the past 2 years in CCL. So maybe we're just doomed to always, get throttled the first game of the quarterfinals and then either win or draw in the second game and call it that. But I don't know. That's the one that kind of puzzled me, and I get it that maybe he has management breathing down his neck about getting Alan Franco integrated into the lineup, but that one just didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. You don't fuck with a good partnership in defense like that, the way that they've been playing and only giving up one goal in the first 4 competitive matches together.
Yeah.
So just to circle back to the injuries, because I think this is an important point. I think Heinze has to kind of just play the same guys at this point in time and play him into the ground if need be, because he's trying to establish a system. So if you're trying to establish a system and you just keep rotating guys out because of you're worried about injuries, you're never going to get to a point where it's established. So the criticism then is going to be, there's no consistency in the team. And now it's like he's playing everyone is like, well, now you're getting injured and stuff. But
at the same time, I feel like
there's nothing. I just don't think there's anything you can do at this point in time with a new manager instilling a new system that you like, oh, we got to be careful about injuries. You just got to play them. I mean, they're professional athletes. They need to do their recovery as much as they can. They need to manage their bodies with the support of the staff. But you have to get them. You have to get like the Martinez. He needs games. Franco needs games. You've just got to get guys in the system playing together to establish a basis of chemistry. And then you can start kind of picking and choosing and rotating guys out if they need rest. I mean, Sosa looked knackered against New England, but then last night I thought he looked awesome.
Until the end. And then he was, that goal basically leads to just his fatigue, or not the goal, but there was a couple plays where he just couldn't chase somebody down. He's just completely spent. So
yeah, exactly. But towards the end of the game, but then again, are you going to sub Sosa out in that game?
No, absolutely.
You're not. So whatever horse placenta or rhino horn he's eating, he needs to keep that up to get him playing games, because we desperately need him out there.
Yeah,
I guess so.
Drinking powdered seahorse.
So I just want to play a little bit of devil's advocate, just to say, to your point about instilling a system, which I think is well taken, and especially a system that revolves around chemistry. I think that's been the biggest thing lacking, particularly over the New England in the second leg against Philly, right? Where so much of the core of what was in that first leg against Philly and the first few games of the season, which was that familiarity in the players and their relationships for link-up play with 1-2 touches, was non-existent against either New England or that second leg against Philly, whatsoever. The absence of Barco and Josef against New England in particular led to zero build-up of play on the top end of the ball and past midfield, that it was just glaringly obvious that Atlanta was never in a position to win out in either of those games. The second leg against Philly a little bit more so, but the talent on the field was a little bit better. That said, my point about the system and having repeating players in that lineup is that inherently, if you're trying to create a system, would you not want all of your players to be familiar so that it's not glaringly obvious whenever one of those players is unavailable, that all of a sudden you have a substitution, they have no idea what their role or what they need to do is? So that's devil's advocate to that standpoint, right? Where it's of course you want your best players to do that, but if they're unavailable because of injury or whatever, that's the argument for maybe having more frequent substitutions, because what that system involves requires some sort of fluidity in that lineup, because it's not sustainable over an extended period of time, and it's this sort of plug and play mentality, which that was always what I guess Frank de Boer was trying to get to in his system, right? Where it's you don't want to be so beholden to the starting 11, that as soon as one or two of those players are missing, it completely falls apart, which was exactly evident in that game against New England and part of that Philly game, in my opinion, last night.
Well, I will say in Heinze's defense, though, if you look at the two guys that are suffering from muscle injuries right now, they're two guys that suffered from muscle injuries under different manager last year. I just don't know that Barco and Jürgen Damm are that durable of players, to be honest. I mean, Damm came in and I'm pretty sure he was injured and then sat out more games throughout the course of the season. Barco is always on the shelf. To be honest, I love the guy to death. I think he's an incredible player and he's very important to this team. That said, at some point you have to wonder, like, I don't know, it's a conversation for a different time, but he seems to be on the shelf more than he's on the field. So it's a little difficult to deal with when essentially all three of your DPs right now are questionable in some fashion, and maybe not Josef, because Josef is really, I think, more so now dealing from a lack of service and a lack of creativity from the people behind him than he is dealing with his own inadequacies coming off of that injury. I think the other two that are huge question marks to me, like Barco, you're not necessarily paying him a shitload of money. I don't know his salary, but you're dealing with taking a DP slot off of your roster for him and for Alan Franco, both of whom are not, granted, we're only a few games into the season and this is all conjecture, whatever, but are like, they're not making that big of an impact right now because obviously Barco's injured and Alan Franco is being outworked by two TAM level guys, maybe.
Yeah. So let's hit up the trap. We haven't really done that. And obviously that's so much a part of what leads to us to talk to. Michelle has a great point, which is I also think the refs should take better care of them. Barco being, I think they mentioned last night, the second highest fouled player in the league currently, which doesn't really help with his sustainability as a player whenever he's consistently getting fouled. And during those fouls isn't necessarily getting yellow cards to try to prohibit that from continuing to happen week in and week out.
Yeah, I think he's won that competition all the seasons since the 2018 season.
Yeah. Bill Holcomb, I would like to see a more consistent backline pairing or trio at the start of the season so they can get comfortable. The rotation seems like we might be missing opportunities to get a solid defense. I completely agree. And I think, we had a separate conversation with a text communication with the three of us about Heinze favoring that Walks and Robinson duo on that back line. And I think a lot of that just comes down to, I don't know that
Matt, check your blood sugar.
I don't know that Franco is necessarily worked into the point of what it's not necessarily his defensive abilities as it is. Like, I just haven't seen him as much on the offensive side of the ball. And that was really obvious whenever Robinson came in last night, where immediately whenever he comes onto the field, Atlanta somehow and instantly starts getting some sort of build of play from the back line that Franco just hasn't been able to establish himself in for whatever reason that may be. So it'll be interesting to watch that and see how that goes. Another comment from
Franco didn't play last night.
I thought he did for some reason.
No, So what do you think it is against New England?
Right. That's what I watched both of them last night.
Yeah.
That's why I was thinking that. My fault. Michelle mentions I'm so here for the Heinze and Curtin rivalry. Did you guys see all of that that took place afterward?
Jim Curtin's such a pain in the ass, dude. Like he's like I get it. Like he's the shithousery that he employs and then requires of his players is I don't know. It's kind of legendary status to me in MLS. Like there are certain coaches that do that, but the theatrics and everything from his players and him trying to deny it and then accepting it and then denying it again and then calling Heinze an asshole. Like I'm very much for this rivalry. He is just another reason why Philadelphia sports teams are so easy to dislike from other from every other team, to be able to look at them and not be able to cheer for them. Like I don't know. The press conference or whatever it was fantastic. Yeah, Felipe did a great transcript over on Twitter. Yeah. And then also just listening to Jim Curtin again, just being a pain in the ass. Like how many stretchers were called last night for
3 or 4.
Right. And how many times did every one of those stretchers get used?
0.
Or did each one of those 0? Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
And how much time did we end up getting in was it the first or the second half? I think it was the second half. We ended up with 4 minutes of stoppage time after all that shit.
Yeah.
And the same with the first leg. It was just
the time wasting was a whole subplot to this series with Philly that needs to be talked about in some regards, where yes, it's absolutely a part of the game. And Atlanta United's done it multiple times in their past 5 seasons. Like it's a part of the game that's undeniable. However, whenever people are going down because they're getting hit with the ball, like Shabilko did in the first rounds, like what the fuck are we doing right now, guys? Like you're not even taking physical like you got hit with the ball. That's like, and it wasn't even in a vital area. Like he got hip checked with the ball. Like it hit him in his hip and he went down. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Sergio Santos is amazing at that. I remember in the first leg, Bello did a beautiful tackle and nutmeg the ball out.
Oh my god!
And then Sergio Santos continued his sprint for about 4 or 5 steps, and then just
the ground,
went out to the air, went down, and then this, that wasted like 3 or 4 minutes, and then he this time. It was when he was called to be subbed. He was like, "Oh man, my leg hurts," and he had to sit down on the ground.
Ridiculous.
Poor Sergio Santos, man. I mean, a professional athlete, and I could knock him down with my broken little pinky finger here.
Ridiculous.
Quick shout out to Max Plays Games 492. I think that's a new name in the trap. I think Max McDonald from Twitter, if I'm not mistaken. Thanks for joining us tonight. Yeah, it's good to see you.
A couple of things I want to talk about, which is another subplot to this, which Brian and Bill Holcomb and Connor Thompson were all kind of talking about, which inevitably was going to come up, right? Like some of the buildup going into this second leg against Philly, which was, okay, Heinze hasn't won his past 2, and if he doesn't win this one, he's going to start getting some pressure. This was my issue with the Frank de Boer firing all along, which was that the precedent that it sets. Regardless of which side you stood on, whether you thought Frank needed to stay and his tenure continue, considering everything that last season was outside of his control, or you rightfully thought that he needed to have a departure from Atlanta United because Atlanta wasn't playing the style of football that you expect them to play, the fact is that he was let go in a manner that sets a precedent that every other coach is going to be subjected to at some point if they aren't winning the majority of their games in a short span of time. So that said, Brian says, I don't recall getting burns on the counter so far. I don't recall getting burned on the counter often during Frank or under Frank, to which Bill Holcomb replies, might be because we never got forward under FTB. Rightfully so. Connor Thompson.
So hold on. To that point, I mean, the Eastern Conference Final in 2019, we got burned twice on the counter, I believe, and lost that game because of it.
Connor Thompson, people need to stop bitching and wait 8 regular season games before chanting in unison, Boca out. I'm Boca is burnt toast within the, oh my God. I can't. Alis McBee. I don't get that reference. Anyway, again, what are your thoughts? Because it's going to happen. People are going to start calling for Heinze out in a matter of games. I mean, somebody else was mentioning, like, is it Carlos Bocanegra really the issue? And again, it's just you start burning down everything as a result of a couple of matches. I don't see where the logic or reason is in that. And I don't think any of us were ever on the FDB out train. And I don't think any of us are going to be on the Heinze out train anytime soon either, considering what we've seen under a short sample size.
I think that people are actually not understanding your sarcasm when you scream Heinze out, Kevin. I think people are actually like, see, he's Heinze out.
My
They also
reaction.
don't understand my sarcasm whenever I tried to blame Brad Guzan for those first 2 goals as an excuse to use the Kane gifs on Twitter. And they were like, there's nothing that Guzan could have done in those moments. I know that. I just wanted to use that ridiculous gif of Kane to reference Brad Guzan. However, he could have done something for that 3rd goal. Like, he literally just stood there.
In the words of Bedoya, do something. No, my reaction to anybody who in earnest is saying Heinze out, I have 4 words. Shut the fuck up. That's it. That's all you got. For those of you who are, we need to make like a guide to reacting to your friends or like handling your friends whenever they say Heinze out. It's just those 4 words. Just shut the fuck up. Like that's it. Like at some point, I don't know what to do with it. You just have to ignore a certain contingent of the fan base that are calling for the head of a manager 8 games into a season. That's it.
Yeah, I'd also extend that to Carlos Bocanegra out. Sorry, Connor Thompson. I mean, there's so much that goes on. There's so much you're trying to do in order to get the right players, and it's too early
logic that you
into
just
the
mentioned,
season.
right? Like, you just start mixing everything up. You can't build any sort of consistency in a lineup, much less in an organization, if like every step back is going to automatically be off with your head. Like, you're never going to build anything that way.
Yeah, we just need we're so early in the season. I go on Twitter and people are like, we don't have any wingers. Our defense sucks. We can't get the ball. I think our defense, quite frankly, has played very well. I think when the ball's in our half, we play generally very well. And I mean, I'm happy with that. That's something that you can build on. It's just that when you don't have the clinical finishing, or quite frankly, the service that you want for that final pass in the opponent's half of the field, I mean, it just all comes crashing down at that point. And then all you are is your defense and basically Santiago Sosa. So it's just time. It's time. It's fitness. It's getting up to play. I mean, we've started the season playing 4 highly competitive games in the CONCACAF Champions League, traveling to Costa Rica. We've played a Philly team that are legitimately very, very good. We've played New England, who I believe are top in the East right now, who are another decent team. And we've managed to beat a Chicago team 3-1. And people can kind of pare down those goals and kind of talk them away. But the thing is, we scored 3 goals. I mean, the own goal doesn't happen unless Marcelino Mourinho plays a really interesting ball through, and it confuses the defense. So
Brian says it best. Absolutely. Say what you will about Frank, but he was dead right when he said we were a bit spoiled. Truer words never spoken from a more handsome mouth than Frank de Boer.
I think it's just coming home to roost. Like, I remember, and I feel like I've said this a whole bunch of times before. Paul McDonough did an interview, and he said we caught lightning in a bottle with Atlanta United, and we really did that. I mean, it's an insane achievement what we did in a second year, winning a World Cup. What am I talking about? Winning the MLS Cup.
Okay. We won the World Cup, dude. I was there for it. That was a World Cup game.
Yeah.
Never tell me otherwise.
And I think it is kind of like, well, this is the down and dirty. This is when it really is a difficult thing to do. And part of it is like, it's a whole complex issue. We've got a whole environment, a system, the refs don't protect their players as well. The playmakers in the league.
MLS is a difficult league. Like, as much as it gets shit on internationally, like, it's a tough league. There's a reason why the same teams are, aside from Seattle and Toronto, especially over recent years. It's a reason why the same teams aren't winning year in and year out, right? Like, because the league is structured in a way to give some sort of parity in between the teams, whether it's from the way the salaries are structured or the way the league is structured, or teams in general have to operate. And it's tough, man. And you're absolutely right. I think Atlanta did catch lightning in a bottle. I'm not saying it's not unfathomable for them to do so again. But right now, the team is faced with a lot of challenges, and the depth is going to be challenged very early on. So try to get back on topic with the games. Any other thoughts about the Philly and CCL run?
No, I don't think so. Columbus is losing 2-0, and that's fucking awesome because I don't want to see any other MLS team win CCL. We're going to win it, but yeah.
We want to be the first, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're going to be
yeah.
ordering a Cruz Azul jersey?
Yes. I will have one of those. Yeah. Get one of those Angulo jerseys.
So what did you guys think of the New England game? Because that one is the standout of the bunch, in my opinion, where it was a complete, like you can take away from both Philly games, even though you only lost one, you drew the second one. They seemed at least relatively consistent in the run of play versus that New England game, which looked like a complete regression. And I have no idea what was happening in that game. And that's the one that's got me maybe a little bit more worried going into this weekend, even though it's a little further out than the most recent run of form against Philly in the second leg. What were your thoughts against New England this past weekend, and what takeaways there may be from that?
So Josh Bagriansky did a really good Talking Tactics article showing how New England I think they used Carlos Heel and Butska to double team
back line against Sosa.
Double team Sosa.
Dude, so it worked flawlessly. Yeah.
So I was trying to think, and it totally shut us down. And I was liking it to when teams would just double team Almiron and take him out, and we would lose those games. So that was one method to beat us. I thought it was really interesting. As soon as they closed Sosa down, they were able to kind of like do a more of a positional press into all of our defense. So once they've got a defense back down, you've got Mulroney and Bello who have already gone. Or was it? Oh no, I'm sorry. It was Mulroney and Lennon who are already down the field. So it was basically Robinson, Franco. Oh my gosh, Walks, Franco, and Sosa. So Sosa's got double teamed, and then we've only got two guys who can really do anything. And they just would bring more guys to close off the passing lanes, and it totally it worked like a charm. It was very annoying, but it was an impressive tactical change by Bruce Arena. So yeah, it was a frustrating game to watch. That penalty was. I don't know how
that was not a penalty. And you know why it was not a penalty is because it was called a free kick to begin with, and there is no clear and obvious evidence to overturn it.
Do you think that they had a camera angle that we just didn't have? Because that's what they kept saying during the broadcast, was like they have an 18-yard camera that they didn't.
I don't know. As much as us EPL viewers bitch and moan about VAR and the implementation of VAR in EPL, the one thing I will say is very nice is that we get the actual live view of the VAR review that the ref is the same view the ref has.
That's what I feel like would help clarify a lot of this shit, man.
I feel like we need to do what the NFL did, and I thought they did this when we had the tournament in Orlando in last year, where they started miking up the refs, and you could hear the conversations the refs were having. And I remember, I think it was the A-League in Australia. They have the conversation broadcast between the ref and the VAR and the video they're discussing. And to be honest with you, that would be an awesome fan experience. What you're doing is you are showing the fans how to understand the game, other than just having this mystery box that things happen in, and then it changes the outcourse of the game. It's just so frustrating, and I don't understand why they are so opposed to doing that.
But what would and this is just me, maybe I'm playing dumb here, but what would another camera angle of that show you? I thought that the one that they showed us
So
pretty clear. Like,
so
there's
it's just the way that angles and visuals can, like, depending on which way the camera is facing, like, contact may seem like it's on one side of the line, but if you have a straight shot down the line, it completely changed. Like, that's why there's a pylon cam, like, for the exact same reason in football. Like, those perspectives and those visual angles can completely distort what's actually happening. And that was so close, and his foot was slightly in the air. Like, the way they were saying it was like, if it's on the line, it's over the line. And so as a result, like, I guess that was what led to that determination. Like, it clearly wasn't over, like, it wasn't inside the 18. It had to be on the edge of that line, but without having that angle straight down that 18-yard line, there's no way to know for certain from the angle that we had, you know?
Yeah, especially as you're zooming in from such a far vantage point.
Right.
That it just flattens out the image.
Yeah.
So what they need to do with all the drone technology and the teeny tiny size that they make with cameras, I don't understand why every play doesn't have bullet time. Why can we not see that? You know, drones are so small. Sure, they cost a little bit of money. But I mean, if we're playing, what are you paying? 400 million now as an expansion fee to MLS?
Yeah. Stephen Perales says, Stephen Perales just popped in. He said he's late, but what topic we're on? We're actually reminiscing about the game series Max Payne.
Yes.
And the bullet time cameras from Max
Give me
Payne.
some painkillers.
We're talking about that and the great award-winning movie Wanted, where you could bend bullets. And
I was thinking
one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
I was thinking the award-winning award-winning adaptation of Max Payne, starring Mark Wahlberg and Mila Kunis. Like, that was a phenomenal piece of cinema. I'm not wrong. I'm not backing down. I am not backing down.
I think ultimately we need to have those angles available. Tim. I think you're absolutely right.
Yeah, Max actually brings up a good point. While we're on refs, he's speaking about bad ref calls. Did y'all already talk about the cleat to Joseph's neck? What the hell? Was that?
What the fuck, for real?
Well, that was a missed call. What that was? I mean, that could have been a red.
What was, like, Stu Holden and them were like, oh, well, it's a 6'6" defender and a 5'7" striker. Who gives a shit? Like, if that goes in lower, it's a red card by default. Well, unless it's Nigel de Jong on Xabi Alonso's chest, but then it's just a yellow. But at least it was a yellow. At this point, it was nothing.
That makes sense. I mean, you know, it's his fault he has brain damage because he should have been taller.
For fuck's sake, like, you can go, I don't know. It was pretty ridiculous. I don't know. That guy, I joked about it earlier, and Angie brought this up. I don't know if for you people who watch The Office, but that definitely looks like Meredith's son. That the guy who cleated Joseph in the neck. He looks like you guys know what I'm talking about? The stripper. He looks just like him. And he's from Philadelphia. He's from Pennsylvania, right? So.
Oh man.
No, but that was frustrating though. That was very frustrating.
It was kind of like when you see things like that, it's like, okay, well, there's just no way we're gonna win this game. Like, things are just not gonna, And then, okay, so my biggest beef with Heinze now is from last game, and it's subbing in Kubo Torres, who apparently has a high work rate, but the work rate only occurs when the ball's within 3 feet of him. Other than that, he's like jogging along like Homer's jogging to the workout stand. You know, he may as well not be there, to be honest with you.
Fucking top notch, dude. You got it.
Homer from The Simpsons?
Yeah.
Talking about whenever he was a boxer and he just kept rope-a-doping everybody until he fought the Mike Tyson.
No, I'm basically telling him, like, Kupo doesn't do anything, and he's slow. I cannot stand him. He just wastes opportunities. I don't know why he's in the lineup,
man. I really don't.
I don't either.
Dan doesn't seem to understand why he's breathing, and I think that's a little inappropriate. Dan's over here calling for people's heads.
I thought we released him from contract last year.
We did, but it was
I make that up in my head?
No. It was to renegotiate. It's a pretty common.
I thought
thing
it was
in
like a Berenstein
sports,
Bears
yeah.
kind of deal last night. I was like, I thought he was gone. How was he still here? What the fuck?
Real quick experiment in the trap. Did you guys remember it as a kid? Was it the Berenstein Bears, EIN, or Berenstain Bears, AIN? Let me know, because
It's EIN. My kids watch it all the time.
Yeah, but it's not.
They're just like me and you, Tim.
Oh boy, that's what I think every time I watch golf and they're in the pine straw. They're just like us.
See?
It's St. Bears family.
Oh, it's proof of alternate universes colliding.
Okay, so back to the New England game. So the reason why the New England game has me concerned going forward was that the lineup was so drastically different and the run of play. Like, while yes, Dan, you make a great point that tactically they shut down Sosa and as a result shut down all buildup of play from that back line. However, there was zero midfield throughout that entire game. Any attempts to play to either wing was shut down. There was no consistent play in possession. While Atlanta maintained the majority of possession, I think they ended up with 54% possession over the course of the game. There was no run of play or possession with any sort of intent and lead up to any sort of a goal. Josef was out. Granted, he's playing now, but the two big things from that game that you're going to have present going into regular season play this weekend, which was Barco was out, Dan was out. The issues at back line, whether it was Franco or Robinson, even with a team that can shut Sosa down, like it goes back to what Tim said earlier on this season, which was Atlanta United. Now, I don't even think the argument is that the defense lives and dies by Sosa. I think Atlanta United arguably lives and dies by Sosa in the lineup right now. If you shut him down, the entire team shuts down, particularly if Barco's out, because you've got zero movement through the midfield right now. And I don't know who fills that role.
Listen. There are very few things I like less in this world than giving Bruce Arena credit for something. But he was undeniably a brilliant tactician in the way that he shut us down. And he really stifled everything. To your point, Kevin, we did talk about the team and the defense and everything going through Sosa and his interchanges with that back line. I think that's what I think the chemistry that he already has with the backline partner or backline pairing of Miles and Walks is miles ahead of where I would expect it to be. And I think the way that they're able to shift around and cover for each other is fantastic. But you're right. Like, it really did expose exactly. I mean, Bruce Arena exposed exactly how much we really rely on Sosa starting that run up field and getting everybody into space and being able to be that connection from the back line. Because he's essentially, I mean, you could say he's a number 6, but in a lot of ways he plays on the back line. And in the way that he's able to connect the midfield, if you shut that down, we're kind of screwed.
So that's why I'm hoping for, and it's probably not going to happen because he's trying to instill a system, but I feel like a back three of Walks, Robinson, and Franco would help that because it's going to push Sosa up the field. And I feel like Robinson, of all those three center backs, he is going to be potentially the best to help distribute the ball. So if you can push Sosa up the field, if he's getting two guys, if he's got two guys on him, it's going to push them further up the field. And then if they try and jump you, you can pass it on up to Sosa through either passing it to your right or to your left to Walks or Franco, who can then get it to Sosa. I feel like there's ways tactically that you can work Sosa around depending on the opponent's tactic. Now, I'm not saying that we just start off with that, but I feel like because we are the kind of team who just wants to go and dictate the game. But then if we're starting to see things like what happened with New England, we've got to have little shifts or variations that we can go to in order to negate that. And if we don't have that, we're just going to get beat every time. But then, the Bielsaists can be very stubborn at times, but We'll see what happens.
I mean, to Coach Steve's point, Dan, what do you do with George Bello with the back three? And what do you do with Brooks Lennon at the back?
Put him on the
three?
wing. You put him on the.
Did you take Moreno out potentially and put Bello in for Moreno?
I don't know.
Oh, what did I do? I'll tell you in a second.
I don't know,
because
man. Moreno's been hit or miss,
about
but I really do like him in that lineup. I think sometimes he holds on to the ball a little bit too long, but overall, I think he's got it. I don't know.
Who's that, Kev? Sorry.
Moreno.
Yeah, so I was saying if you start those three, Walks, Miles, and Franco, then you can have Sosa who sits in front of them. So it basically turns into almost like a 3-4-3 almost. So you would have Bello on as your left wing, Lennon on the right wing. So that's going to give you the width across the field that Heinze has always wanted to do. Then you put either Hyman or Bello right in the middle, and then Moreno just to his left, Mulroney just to his right, and Josef up top. So I feel like that's going to give you a little bit more support. It's going to cut Moreno and Mulroney potentially inside on either side of the wings to either get them into the box or to pass the final ball through to Josef. And then you've got Hyman backing them up, sort of directing traffic, which I think Hyman can potentially do. I've been pretty impressed with Hyman's play in the past couple of games.
So the really big thing that we need to talk about is Loki coming to Disney Plus in just about a month.
Yeah.
Have either of you watched the other two Marvel series? I know, Tim, you just finished WandaVision.
We watched WandaVision. It's fantastic.
So damn good. So, Dan, have you watched either of them yet?
I'm on episode 2 of WandaVision.
What do you think?
My son's watched all of them.
Oh, man.
I liked it.
Dude, so good. So good. Okay, can you boot somebody? How do you boot Brian? Can we nuke the MCU? Get out of here. Get out of here.
Bill Holcomb. No, I didn't put Bello at the 10. I put Bello on the left wing.
Oh, you did have him in the middle is what you were saying. Him or
yeah, I'll show you.
Moreno.
Boycott Disney until Orlando is out of the playoffs. That said, Rob Usry had the best tweet last night, which was calling out our buddy Derek over in Orlando, who was saying, "Oh, thank God Atlanta's been eliminated from CCL." And he said, he quote tweeted it and was like, "Orlando critiquing CCL is like a vegetarian reviewing Arby's."
Yes, that is pretty great.
Winter Soldier and Falcon should have. Yeah, I'm glad that you put it in the right order because Winter Soldier was way better than Falcon in that series, and it definitely made a turn midway through. I was a little iffy about it the first couple episodes, but by the end, I was definitely on board. So
you know who I'm not iffy about anymore is Jake Mulroney.
Yeah, dude.
I think he's been aggressive. He's been very comfortable and confident and kind of secure on the ball, I would say, which is not something I would think that I would say last year. I think he's kind of worked his way into he's at least fighting to go forward, I feel like. And he's been aggressive in one-on-ones, and I feel like he's trying to I don't know, I feel like he's probably endeared himself to Heinze at this point. He and Heinemann, aside from Sosa, I think those two have been my kind of standouts the past couple of games. I think Heinemann is working his way. I see less and less Emerson Heinemann slander on the internet these days. I don't know who the scapegoat is at this point.
Hyman's, yeah. I mean, I really have been liking Hyman. I mean, he's there. He's cutting out channels. He's putting in a slide tackle every now and then to steal the ball away. He's cutting down. Yeah, he's getting back on defense.
He potentially saved a goal last night with like a wraparound slide tackle, like in right outside 18, right towards the end of the game.
He's done that a few times. Yeah, he's been great. Jake Mulroney, yeah, I when he was brought in, I severely underrated him, and I feel like he's played himself into a potential starter role. I guess it depends on how Dam goes. I mean, ideally, when you're just looking at a team sheet, Dam is the guy and Mulroney's behind him. But I mean, it took Dam like 2-3 games to get into it, and now he's injured. So it's Mulroney's for the taking. He's just got to keep showing it. I don't think he had the best performance last night, but in the Chicago game, yeah, I was very impressed with him. He did some great stuff. Those beautiful twinkle toes, man.
So I keep trying to play with you guys, and you keep shutting it down. So I'm going to try again, which is let's talk about Arby's. Home before dark favorite. Dirty Bird Person asks, "Are we the Arby's of MLS?" We are the meat mountain of MLS, replies Brian. And this conversation is giving me whiplash from Chiefs coach Steve. Chief, I'm trying, man. I'm trying to have fun here, and they want to stay on topic. We're close to 9:00. Just give into it, guys. Just give into it. Arby's does have the mozz sticks, and they have the meats.
So I went to Arby's. I just don't think we know what we have with Alan Franco. He's gonna be
okay. Let's equate. Okay, here's the game. Here's the game. We're gonna do both. We're gonna do both in true Home Before Dark fashion. We're gonna stay on topic. We're gonna look at the entire Atlanta roster, the starting roster that Dan wants to propose with the back three. Every one of the players equated to an Arby's menu item, and how imperative they are in this lineup based on what they are from an Arby's menu standpoint. So, Dan, can you pull that up for the people in the back three? Who was it again? We'll start from the back. Let's start with Brad Guzan. Guzan's still in goal, right?
I mean, that's what I've got.
All right, so let's start there. So of the Arby's menu, what would you rank Guzan? Tim, do you want to share the Arby's menu on the screen so we can am I already reading your mind? Is that what you're looking for? Yes, sir, my man. Let's go. Let's go.
I mean, I feel like I'm just talking. I feel like this is better than Pokemon, so I'll just go with it.
Are we going to get demonetized? Are we going to get like a copyright strike for putting the Arby's menu up on our screen?
So let's all
I don't think we get enough listeners.
So off the bat, let's all agree that Kubo Torres is that disgusting garbage grape and almond chicken salad pecan sandwich.
Wait,
fucking
he's not in my
trash
lineup.
that nobody is ever going to Arby's to order.
No, Kevin said, fuck your lineup. We're doing the entire roster, top to bottom.
Excuse me.
All right, so Guzan in the back. Can you scroll us down, Tim? Everybody is saying potato cakes for Guzan. Ooh, spicy Greek gyro. Man, I'm getting hungry.
This makes me really wish we had somebody like I can't even think of any good Greek players anymore. Kevin Morales on our team, so we have the spicy Greek gyro. But oh, poor orange cream shake is no longer here.
Are you gonna? So are we doing just like the starters, or
let's just do starters? I just got distracted because pecan chicken salad sandwich is the worst menu item from any restaurant in the history of restaurants. So I just wanted to throw that out there for Kubo Torres.
Steven Perales is correct. That 3 pepper sauce is delicious.
Oh my God. Top notch with the 3 pepper sauce all day. All day.
They have these new sliders now. Who was saying that? Somebody said Guzan is sliders. I could get on board with that, but he's not a buffalo slider. He's more like he's a roast turkey slider to me.
So here's what I think. Guzan to me is not a menu item. Guzan is when you have a burger that has a lot of things on it and you want to kind of eat it where it's half in the wrapper. So all the stuff doesn't fall out the bottom of the burger onto your lap or whatever. I feel like Guzan is the wrapper that holds the burger together.
Okay. So maybe Guzan is just Arby's sauce, right? Like it's the consistent
holds it together.
thing. It carries throughout the entire menu, right? It builds it up from the ground up, right? Like Arby's sauce on anything on their menu, it works. So
no, that's got to be Sosa.
Sosa, ooh, no, I would go spicy. I would go 3 pepper sauce with Sosa.
Wait, no.
Too spicy, man.
You're not even okay. You can't just go from sauce. You can't say Guzan sauce and then Sosa is a spicy chicken sandwich. That doesn't.
No, I didn't say chicken sandwich. You said that you thought that Sosa was sauce. You thought that Sosa was the Arby's sauce.
I was saying that Guzan can't be the sauce because he is. You're saying he's the one that glues everything together, but that's got to be Sosa in mind. But,
okay.
So are you going? Are you going ingredients, or are you going like whole sandwiches? Like
all of it. The whole menu's on the table, Dan. It's the whole menu, bro.
So are you just gonna say Sosa is packets of sauce?
No, I wasn't saying that. You were saying
No.
that. I was saying Guzan was sauce. He was the Arby's sauce for me. We can put it in a bag if you want to.
Sauce in a bag. Okay, let's just keep going and see where this goes.
Okay,
I'm
gonna go.
Sosa. I think Sosa is curly fries. Go ahead, Tim.
No, I was just gonna. Let's start from the back. Guzan.
Well, we can all have separate answers. That's fine.
For
Dan
me,
says bag.
I say he's the roast turkey slider.
Let me ask a fundamental question. Every time I think Arby's is disgusting. So every time we talk about
disgusting, and you shouldn't be a part of this broadcast anymore for saying that. That's
you guys aren't being ironic when we talk about this, because I've kind of thought that the whole time that we've been recording this podcast for the past 5 years. So you actually like Arby's?
Fuck yeah, I grew up on Arby's, dude.
Who the fuck doesn't like Arby's, Dad? Get out of here.
I can't eat it anymore because I got the gout, but
So
I miss it. I miss it.
I just think I can make...
Remedi is the thick shake. That is correct. Oh, Stephen Perales with the MVP comment there. Can we agree? Can we agree that Miles Robinson is the big Montana, and then Anton Walks is Meat Mountain in the back there?
Oh yeah, I'm good with that. I'm good with that.
I agree with both of those.
So I'll say Goose is the Arby's sauce that holds everything together. Tim, what did you say Goose was for you? The turkey.
I would say he's a turkey slider because he's consistent. He's not gonna really knock your socks off. His distribution, it's not great.
I like it. All right, George Bello. What are we thinking for Bello? Bello's boys. I'm thinking sliders for Bello. Little buffalo chicken slider.
Ooh, yeah, that's probably not a bad call.
Small in stature, but it's got a good kick.
Yeah, that's fair.
What did you say,
okay.
Tim?
I like that analogy. Yeah. Buffalo chicken slider for Bello. Okay.
Yeah, it'll give you the runs too. No, I took that. I took that from somebody. Somebody said that earlier. He's like, "Oh, that's who it was." Dirty Bird person saying, "Horses sauce player who gives us the runs." And also, Max is correct. He said, "Yo, pizza slider. What the hell is that?" That's what I'm talking about right there.
Dude, it's like that King's Hawaiian bun too. Let's go.
What is that? Is that a nice Genoa salami with a pepperoni and then pizza
bit of
sauce
ragu on top
and a little bit of a little. I think that's
it's
Prego,
got to be that's got to be their mod stick marinara. That's got to be.
No, I'm pretty sure that's Prego, dude. Yeah, that's Prego. I could spot Prego a mile away.
All right, so we got Bello, we got Robinson, we got Walks. All right, so Franco. Franco's new to the lineup. So I'm thinking Franco is our Euro, guys, because he's new to the lineup. He's clearly got some merit, but he's ultimately untested and unproven in the lineup overall. He's gonna please some people, but he's so new to the game that we're familiar with that I think it's just kind of out of left field right now, and it's just TBD.
Yeah, I agree. I would say like a large roast beef Euro meal because like he's got all the makings of a classic.
I like it.
Yeah, you have all the good ingredients, of a classic, but in a new form. It's more expensive than a normal roast beef sandwich is. It's really going to cost you an arm and a leg, but at the end of the day, you might be, a lot happier. A lot happier with the outcome.
This is so ridiculous.
All right,
okay,
you may have a different take, but I've thought of someone. I mean, you want something that's a classic. You want something that's real meaty. That's potentially going to be kind of greasy and like get through areas. So I'm going to say the roast beef Reuben is Josef Martinez.
Why are you going so far up the lineup? We're not there yet. We're building from the back, Dan. You're breaking all the rules.
I think
Oh, I'm
Lennon.
sorry. There's rules to this. I'm so sorry, Kevin. Oh, please let me retract that from.
So do you agree with the Euro being
I'm dreadfully
Sosa?
sorry.
Do you agree with the Euro being Sosa?
Yeah, I agree. Wait, whoa. No,
not
Franco?
Sosa. I meant Franco.
Yes.
Let's go to Sosa because I think that one's going to be a deciding.
No, you're forgetting.
One.
You're forgetting. You're forgetting Brooks Lennon, and I think
you're
looking at.
Right.
I think you're looking at like a regular chicken slider. I think you get both of the boys on the outsides are chicken sliders, in my opinion.
Okay, homie, I like the way you think. Let's go. Let's go. All right, so let's go Sosa next up. What do you guys think? I'm gonna go last because I've got a hardcore stance on Sosa.
It's beef and cheddar. It's a large beef and cheddar.
Man, that's where I was going. He's the foundation. He is the Arby's brand.
Or he's the 5 for 5.
Don't you want to do? Yeah, I thought the curly fries because he goes with everything.
That's. I don't know, man.
Because
I think we're going to lose a lot of people on this.
You're not going to go get a chicken sandwich and a classic roast beef and cheese. You're going to get a chicken sandwich and curly fries.
Okay. So you're going curly fries for Sosa. That's not a bad pick. All right, we'll rush it. We'll hurry it up. We're losing people. You're right. Maybe Barco as a junior roast beef. That's not a bad pull for Brian there. Josef Martinez, you go with the Reuben. Dan, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
For the Reuben? Man, I'm thinking that Joseph is the double beef and cheddar, my man. I think he's everything that you got in the back with Sosa, but he's putting the team on his back and he's going to make you pay for it the next day.
Yeah, but the thing is about a beef double stack is it's kind of boring and it's not got much
for
taste.
You maybe.
So a Reuben, you've got the beef in there, you've got the rye bread, you've got the sauerkraut, you've got the Thousand Island dressing. There's a whole bunch of different flavor profiles that can hit a lot of areas. And Joseph, he's a guy who isn't afraid to try something new.
That's not bad. All right. I think we've done this enough.
This is Joseph to be. Yeah, you're right. The half-pound beef and cheddar. Good God.
Oh God.
Okay. All right, we gotta stop it. Yes.
So let's talk about Inter Miami. Right, we've beat the few games to death, I think, for the past few matches. Unless you guys have any other additional comments about New England or Philly.
No.
So Inter Miami, Dan, I'm sure you've got a roundup for us, and then we'll go into score predictions. What do you think, man?
Inter Miami. So the Higuain brothers are going to be back. So Miami play a 4-2-3-1. So I kind of think we play Miami toe-to-toe. They've got – I don't know if you guys watched the Inter Miami Nashville game, but it's one of the most boring games I've ever seen. Granted, the Higuain brothers weren't in that one, but it's just – they've been a lot better than we thought. You've always got to look out for Morgan on the flank there. And also, it depends what side of LGP got out of bed on.
And they just narrowly lost to Galaxy, right? In the opener?
Like
3-2
yes.
or something like that?
Here, I'll find you right now.
I thought it was 3-2. I could have made that up.
So Miami's past results so far have been a 3-2 loss to LA Galaxy at home. Yeah. At home down in Fort Lauderdale. Then they went up to Philly and beat them 2-1. And then they went up to Nashville and had a 0-0 draw with them. So, which was an awful game. And Nashville should have probably won that game in the end. But the Higuain brothers weren't there. So it's going to be, man, I'm not interested in Miami. I mean, you've got Jovan Jones, LGP, Ryan Shawcross, and Kevin Leardam across the back. Blaise Matuidi is going to be there. The much maligned Blaise Matuidi. I don't know if any punishment has come down from MLS with his transfer saga that happened last year because
Is there any
they
Qatari money involved?
well no so
No, I know.
they paid him. They said he was not a DP, and they paid him as a DP. So they broke the financial rules. So to me, I feel like you should come down on that pretty harshly.
No, agreed. Yeah.
But I haven't heard anything about that. So the guys I'm looking for.
Did they even have to sell Pellegrini? Because Pellegrini was on the chopping block to sell because he's technically their fourth DP at this point.
I don't know if he's on their roster.
He might. I don't know if he got dropped from the roster right now, but that's where they were in violation of the rules, from what I understand. Like he's a fourth DP, and they got to get rid of him. Yeah,
they may have dropped him from the roster, which is, man, that really sucks because you ain't going to get any sort of recoup for investment on that one.
No, because who are their DPs right now? Pizarro, Higuain, and Matuidi, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Man, they really do have a hell of a lineup. I mean, if you talk about not being interested in them, I mean, if you look at Jovan Jones and Kelvin Leerdam, both been pretty good fullbacks whenever they were with Seattle. And then you put LGP alongside one of the dirtiest center backs to ever play soccer in Ryan Shawcross, who is how many careers has he ended, or how many seasons has he ended with studs up tackles whenever he was playing at Stoke?
Probably quite a few.
Yeah, I think he was the one that ruined Aaron Ramsey's career pretty much. I mean, Aaron Ramsey still had a good career, but I think that he gave him that really, really bad leg break. But he made the team of the week this past weekend in an ugly game against Nashville. I mean, it's a pretty stout defense to get past, to be honest. I mean, I think it really does depend, like you were saying, if the Higuain brothers are there, I think.
Yeah, I mean, Pizarro, so they had Pizarro playing up front against Nashville, and he's had a really up and down few games. He did not have a great one against Nashville. So I'm just looking on SofaScore. He scored a rating of 6.4, which is not that great. And then the previous game, he was 6.7. So not doing too much. If we can shut down, I feel like then Miami aren't going to bunker against us, and we're obviously not going to do that either. So I feel like it could be a pretty open match. You could see this one. We've never beaten Miami, so you could see this one end in 3-1 or one way or 3-1 the other way. I think Atlanta United's got a good chance of bouncing back here. I feel like there's a bad taste in our mouth from getting CONCACAF for a second time against Philly and then just being knocked out of the Champions League. You hope that we have a good response. We've had a long layoff. It's a Saturday game, I believe, so we have a good amount of time to sort of recover and get back to the training ground and see where we go. So I think we're not going to get what we want out of this game. So I'm going to go with either a 2-1 loss or a 1-1 draw.
Well, you got to pick one.
Well, let me know what yours are, and then I'll come back to you.
So before we do that, so the first Philly match is solely my fault because I was the only person to pick them to win. So I picked up a point there. New England, Dan picked up a point for the Moreno goal. So he picked up the loan. None of us got that score or result correctly. And then Philly, the second leg, I was the only one that had the result and score right. So it was 4 points there. Or no, we did 3 points for result or for the score right. So it was like if you get the score, it's 3 points. If you get the result, it's 1 point. So right now it's 7 me, 4 Dan, 0 Tim.
Yeah, awesome. That's
so
fucking great.
Just in the trap, Mac Plays game is 492. The game is at Sunday at 1:00. So,
one of our rare Sunday games this season, I feel like.
Mm-hmm. So good. It gives us an extra day.
So
Yeah.
I am thinking, Dan, you hit the nail on the head, man. I've been bouncing back and forth between 2-1 loss and 1-1 draw. I think that the Atlanta defense would be able to make enough changes to try to shore up a 2-1 loss. I'm saying 1-1 draw for this weekend. Tim, what do you think?
I think it's an interesting game because I think that we're going to have, to your point, Dan, I think we're going to have a willing dance partner. And they have a lot of, I feel like they're going to play pretty wide open, especially if they're, completely healthy. Did the Higuains just not travel? Like, are they hurt, or were they being rested for that? Because they're both relatively older.
No, they're. I think was it their grandmother who passed away.
Okay, gotcha.
And so the club let them go.
I see.
So I believe they're available for against us.
Yeah, I mean, Lewis Morgan was the guy who burned us last year. Like, he absolutely torched us whenever we played Miami, and it's the guy that I think I would worry about still, because he's a very capable and tricky and just a good winger, and he's proven himself time and time again against us in MLS in general. And I don't know, man. Like, it depends. I don't know what we're looking at. Do we have any idea if Barco and Jurgen Damm are looking healthy for this weekend?
I'm thinking they're both out again.
I would think so too.
Because if they're hamstring injuries as well, they're probably just going to take it real slow.
Well, I think we play our back line that we played in the last match against Philly, and then we played in the first couple games. I think that we'll do a good job of stifling them. I think that I'm going to go out on a limb. I haven't won a single point in predictions, as Kevin has said. I'm going to say a 1-0 victory for Atlanta. Get back off the schneid and get back onto the winning horse. And
who you got scoring? I've got Joseph scoring for me.
Yeah, I think he breaks the duck. I think that's it.
All right, Dan.
All right, I'm going to go 1-0 loss. And I think Gonzalo Higuain gets it.
Wait, you don't get points for guessing the opposing score.
We're not doing that. You're adding rules.
I forgot to run down the Twitter reactions from last night's match, but I just wanted to give those a shout before we wrap up.
Do you have it pulled up now? Because we can also read through score predictions. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. I got Cristiano Mills Naldo, aka Christian Mills, our buddy Millshouse friends, saying when coaches get mad at each other, refs should make them kiss on the mouth. I agree. I think that would be great television. Joey, aka Giletto. We have to decide if it's Haletto.
It's Joseto, Tim.
It's Joseto. Yeah, right.
Can we get him to text us the phonetically correct?
Yes, I'll give him my personal phone number. Yeah.
There you go.
He said, we didn't replace the playmaker that was PD with another playmaker. Moreno's great, but he's just not that kind of player. Don't think I'll be able to make it tonight, talking about To the Trap, but I'll watch the replay tomorrow. 3-2 win Sunday. That's his score prediction. Benny Acosta with 2. I'll give it to him. Saying, ever since Tata left, our identity as a team has left with him. We don't have a clear football philosophy. We didn't under Frank de Boer, and it seems like the same is happening under Gabriel. So we look like a bunch of passion merchants with no idea of how to create chances. He said, also, there's a ridiculous disconnection between our defensive line and the midfield. All of our attacks die there. So in addition to that, our wingers are either aren't wingers or can't deliver a proper ball. So we have nothing through the middle and we have nothing through the wings. Yeesh.
We'll say that was a disappointing thing last night out of Lennon, which was his distribution seemed to be really out of sync with where players were crashing the box, and he was consistently airing it out it was more like he was switching the ball than delivering crosses into the box. So I'll agree with that. But overall, I feel like Lennon's been really good as far as the service into the box goes.
But he's had one game that's not been bad. So let's get rid of him.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Jordan Beck, a.k.a. Dr. Magnifico, saying, I understand Falcons fans' reluctance to re-sign Yeah, Todd Gurley. Sorry, not Tory Gurley, not the old wide receiver deep cut from University of South Carolina. Anyway, to re-sign Gurley as a goal line plus passing down specialist on a presumably high contract. But what if he also can play center forward on the same contract? That's a good point. It's a good call. We should just sign him, play for Atlanta United.
Be like a Adam Traore.
It's super fast too. David Benson, aka Dog for him, saying, don't understand if it's philosophy or tactics or we just aren't very good. But when you start the night 3 goals down in the attack for the first 20 to 30 minutes is either receive, take a few touches, then begin the drop to goose, or play crosses into the air against 2 tall center backs. Also, neither option worked very well in leg 1. Clone Santi, as someone else said, he's one of the few bright spots so far. And that's what Keith Filer's point was, just clone Santi Sosa.
So in the trap, we got a couple score predictions here. Connor Thompson, 4-1. A couple of these, I don't really know who on which way they're pulling here. Max Place Games, 1-0 sounds good to me. Chiefs coach Steve, 2-1, good guys. Joseph with a brace. The game stops for 5 minutes while Joseph celebrates after a first goal. I think I saw Brittany's up here. She pulled a 1-1 draw as well. I think it's kind of a mixed bag. I think Elliot Beavan, Atlanta loses 3-1. I think it's a mixed bag of people kind of not knowing which way this team is headed, and understandably so. I think this is the first time we've seen score predictions where people are actively calling for
a loss,
but predicting an Atlanta loss. So
Connor Thompson now 4-1 Atlanta, I think.
Oh wow.
And then saying we beat Seattle 5-0. Yeah, that would be something to behold.
So anyway, any closing thoughts, fellas, before we start to wrap up here?
I think I've said enough.
You think we sell Barco in the summer?
Depends on if he gets healthy, man. I just still don't think that he's had enough productivity to garner what Atlanta's going to want to get out of him. And I certainly don't think it's that $30 million price tag that you're pushing. So I don't know.
No.
He's got to get some more games. If he could pull what he pulled the first 3 or 4 games this season for a good run of 18 games, I think maybe. But if he's only got 8 games before the summer window and half of those are injury prone, I don't know, man. I really don't.
Yeah. I mean, what would have to happen to get 30 million would be it would have to be either a winter signing, a winter transfer in January, and he would have to play better than we've seen him play. Yeah. I don't think 30 million's realistically. Yeah. So, I mean, 30 million is not going to happen, but realistically, what's going to happen is going to be he probably leaves in the summer and we probably sell him, I don't know, a break even or a loss. And then potentially just look to replace him with someone who we really need. So it would open up a DP spot, but whether that person is a winger, because I think Heinze could potentially take Barco's spot. But I think we probably just move on from him. Or we let him walk.
It'll be interesting to see what happens, man. I think he's certainly got the capacity to be great and certainly garner at least something comparable to Miggy's transfer fee.
I don't even think that.
I know. I think that's more likely than 30 million, though. There's a possibility to hit that, you know. Again, I don't even think it's a possibility. It's just the injury prone, man. It's just, I don't know that he can get a good enough run of form. We haven't seen. I'd be interesting if somebody could pull what's the most amount of games that Barco has played consistently since he joined Atlanta United. I'd set the bar at 5 games. I think
that's probably pretty accurate
since he started with Atlanta United. Like that's kind of a shame for a player that you want to have as a marquee signing and a marquee trade whenever he's leaving. So. Anyway, thank you guys so much for joining us. However you found us, if you did find us on iTunes, be sure to rate and review to hear it read aloud on the show. Leave us any number of stars. We greatly appreciate it. If you found us on YouTube, however you found us, be sure to like and subscribe. trying to break over that 500 window and to reach 2,000 followers on Twitter, which you can find us all at Home Before Dark. That's before spelled B and the number 4. Tim, I know you're on Instagram. Where can the folks find you?
You can just find me at Tim Herb.
Dan, what about you?
You can find me at DNJMS or to the power of Dan on Peloton.
Oh, Jesus. Didn't they just recall a bunch of treadmills?
Yep. Did not handle that publicity thing very well at all.
You can find me as well. You can find me as well at The Architect. That's at _ARC, number 1, TECT. Thank you so much, guys. We'll see you next week. As always, be home before dark.
Herons eat rats.